safety of the animals. Now we are going to be entering the Little Ituri Forest. Many of the animals that may live in the Little Ituri Forest are very good at hiding and camouflaging. Now it looks like coming up on the right side out there, you may be able to see the okapi with those beautiful stripes on their legs that kind of make them look like a zebra. However, they're actually most closely related to the giraffe. In fact, they are the last living relative of the giraffe. Both giraffes as well as okapis will have really long prehensile tongues, which they can use to grasp onto their food. Now the tan animal that's out to the right and left hand sides here are called the greater kudus. Now the greater kudus are one of the taller antelopes, standing at about 5 feet tall at their shoulder. Now only the male greater kudus will have horns, and their horns will be very large and almost in the shape of a W. Now the animals that are going to be just in front of us here are called the bongos. Now the bongos are hardly ever seen, so they are known as the ghosts of the forest. Both the male and the female bongos will have horns. However, the male bongo's coats will be slightly darker brown, and the female bongo's coats will look a little bit more red, just like the ones that are out here. Now coming up on the left side of the truck, also looks like we may be able to see a black rhinoceros. Now the black rhinos are smaller than the white rhinos, and they're also solitary. They will often be found alone. Something else that separates the black rhinos from all other rhinos is that they have a V-shaped prehensile lip. And they can use their lips just like how giraffes and okapis can use their tongues to grasp onto food. The black rhinos will typically grow up to be about 3,000 pounds. Coming up on the left side of the truck here, looks like we may be able to see a bird coming up. Now that bird is called the saddle-billed stork. And the saddle-billed storks do get their name for the little yellow saddle shape that's on their bill. They have a wingspan of about 9 feet, and they're also known to pair for life. Now the female saddle-billed storks will typically have yellow eyes, and the males will typically have brown eyes. And when it does come time to be their nesting season, they actually will take turns on who's going to be sitting on the nest so that the other one can go find food and drink some water as well. Now we are going to be headed to the Safi River. The Safi River has been known to have some Nile hippopotamus hanging around every now and then, so we're going to see if we can find it while we're out here today. Now it looks like all the way over to the right corner there, under the water, you may be able to see a couple of those Nile hippopotamus way in the back there. Now also on the right, you may be able to see some pink-backed pelicans. And the pink-backed pelicans do get their name because during their mating season, they will become way more pink. They also have a wingspan of about 7 to 9 feet, which for size reference is about armrest to armrest on the truck. And they're known to stay in groups of about 20 to 500 pairs. Now just down to the left side there, you may be able to see some more of those Nile hippopotamus. Now a group of hippos is called a bloat. The hippos are nocturnal, and they will typically spend the majority of their day underwater. Now they can also sleep underwater. Hippos do have a portion of their brain that will remain active while they are sleeping to tell them to bob up for air. Now they can stay underwater for just up to about 8 minutes at a time before having to reach up for a breath. And they're also herbivores, so they will mostly eat grasses, leaves, fruits, and vegetables. Being nocturnal really does come in handy to the hippos because during the daytime, when it's pretty warm outside, they will stay underwater. And at nighttime, once it cools off a little bit, they will get up and go find their food. A baby hippo will typically be born at about 85 pounds, and on average, they'll grow somewhere between 2,500 pounds all the way up to about 5,000 pounds. Now just down to the left side here, you may be able to see the Nile crocodiles. Now the Nile crocodiles are carnivores, however, they will typically eat way less than what most people think they will. And the baobab tree will stay leafless around 9 months out of the year, giving it its nickname as the upside down tree, because it looks like there are roots on the top of the tree. During the drier months, the baobab tree will store up as much water in its trunk as it can to help it survive. But during the rainier months, there should be enough water stored up, as well as some excess to be able to bear some leaves. Now we are going to be entering the savanna. The savanna is home to a wide range of animals, ranging from lions, giraffes, elephants, zebras, and many other animals. Now it looks like just out to the right side, if you look kind of towards the right corner, you may be able to see the wildebeest. Kind of out there a little bit, you may be able to see the sable antelopes with those long horns that are facing their back. Now that actually does come in handy to them because they're some of the only antelopes to fight off their predators. Most other antelopes will try to run away, but having those long horns facing their back will help them just in case a predator tries to jump on their back. They'll be ready to fight them off. Now if the sable antelopes have young with them and a predator does come along, they will all circle their young, leaving their horns down. And they protect their young just like we protect our animals. And for that reason, they are the emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Now out there you may have also been able to see the wildebeest. And the wildebeest are part of the Great Migration. Now the wildebeest will migrate groups of up to about 1.5 million every single year. They will migrate with some other animals, like with the zebras as well as some antelopes. However, the zebras and the antelopes typically will not migrate the full 1,000 miles that the wildebeest will migrate every single year. Now out to the left there, right in that corner, you may have been able to see some Ankole cattle with those very large horns. Now their horns are about 5 to 6 feet from tip to tip. And even though their horns look pretty heavy, they actually have a honeycomb structure shape on the inside of those horns to make sure that it will help with their blood circulation, which does help to cool them down. But it also makes sure that those horns are not too heavy on their head. Now the Ankole cattle are also part of the bovine family, which also includes water buffalo and bison. If zebras are white with black stripes or if they are black with white stripes. And they are black with white stripes, and the way we can tell is because the first stripe after their nose is a black stripe. Now as we do pass by the Hartman's Mountain zebra here, take a close look at their neck. You may actually be able to see that they have that little flap of skin on their neck, and that flap of skin is called a dewlap. Now they're not the only animals to have a dewlap, but the Hartman's Mountain zebras are the only zebra to have one. And that dewlap will help them with their blood circulation, which will help to cool them down as well. A group of zebras is called a dazzle. Elephants are the largest land mammals. The male elephants will typically grow up to be about 10,000 to 14,000 pounds, where the females will typically weigh about 8,000 to 10,000 pounds. Now the male elephants are also typically solitary, however sometimes they can also be found in a bachelor group, whereas the female elephants really do not like to be alone. So they will typically be found in a female herd, which will consist of the females as well as their young. also just out to that left side there, you may be able to see the mandrill that's walking around. Now the mandrills are the largest monkeys in the world. And the male mandrills will typically grow to be about 100 pounds, where the females will weigh just about 33 pounds. Based off the size of that mandrill, we may have been able to tell that that one was a male mandrill. Now back to the elephant here, it does look like this one out here may be alone. Also based off of the size of that elephant, we may be able to tell that that one is a male elephant. Now the elephants do have a great memory, and that comes in handy to all of the elephants, but especially the male elephants. Living alone, they will have to find their own food and water. When elephants are young, their mothers will show them exactly how to find food and water, and they will remember those exact watering holes for their entire lives. Now unfortunately, the elephants have faced many poaching challenges. They're not only poached due to the ivory in their tusks, but they're also sometimes poached due to farming. Elephants will travel down into farmers' farms, eating all of their crops. Now that's not good for the farmers because it is their livelihood. We've sent Disney conservation researchers over to Kenya to try to work with some of the farmers. When our researchers got to Kenya, they noticed that elephants would eat from some trees, but not the other ones. When our researchers asked the farmers why that was, the farmers told them that some of the trees had bees in them. We then found out that elephants are actually scared of bees. Now our researchers were able to take that information and help to create some bee box fences. And those bee box fences will help to keep the elephants out of the farmers' crops, making the farmers happy, but it'll also help to keep the elephants safe. Our researchers have also done many studies on elephant vocalizations, and they found out that when the elephants do come into contact with bees, they will make vocalizations that cannot be heard to the human ear, but can be heard by the elephants from miles away. And they can also feel those vocalizations in their feet, and it'll kind of feel like little rumbles in their feet. And when they hear that noise and feel it in their feet, they will know that there are bees in the area, and they don't want to go there. The elephants are also a matriarchal society, and that helps the mother elephants especially, because not just the mother of a baby elephant will be the one to raise and take care of her young, but all of the females will raise the young together. Now, a little bit ago, you may have also been able to see that that male elephant could use his trunk to be able to pick up his food and bring it right to his mouth. Now, their trunks have over 40,000 muscles in them, and that's more muscles that they have in just their trunks than we have in our entire bodies. Those trunks will help them eat up to just about 300 pounds of food every single day, and they can also store up to about 5 gallons of water in their trunks at a time. But they will drink up to just about 40 gallons of water every single day. Now coming up on the left side of the truck here, it looks like we may be able to see the greater flamingos. Now the greater flamingos are the largest flamingos, and they're also the lightest in color. The greater flamingos can grow up to be about 5 feet tall. When baby flamingos are born, they are born gray, and they will stay gray until they're about 2 years old. Once they're 2 years old, they should have had enough beta carotene from their brine shrimp diet to help them turn pink. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyant. Now over to the right side of the truck there, that really small antelope out there is called the springbok. And the springboks do get their name from their ability to spring about 6 feet up into the air and about 10 to 13 feet forward. Now they do sit at only about 3 feet tall at their shoulder, and their springing motion is called pronking. Now between their running and their pronking, the springboks do get up to speeds of about 55 miles per hour, which does put them in the top 10 fastest animals. Now coming up on the left side of the truck here, it looks like we may be able to see some white rhinos. Now the white rhinos are larger than the black rhinos, and they're also very social. They will often be found in groups. The white rhinos will typically grow up to be about 5,000 pounds. Now both the black rhinos as well as the white rhinos are actually both gray, but they do get the word white from the word bite, which does actually translate to wide. It was a little bit of a mistranslation. We're just trying to say that the white rhinos are a little bit larger than the black rhinos. Now in the middle there, you may also be able to see that really large mud wallow. And the rhinos will like to use that mud because when they wallow in the mud, that mud will help to coat their skin, acting as a natural sunscreen, insect repellent, and it also helps to cool them down. So let those rhinos be your reminder to make sure that you're wearing your sunscreen. Now coming up on the left side there, you may be able to see an ostrich. Now the ostriches are the largest birds in the world. They do have a wingspan of about 6 feet. But even though they do have wings, they are completely flightless. They will be able to use their wings to help them change direction and for balance while they're running, and their wings will help them run up to speeds of about 55 miles per hour. Now, we may have been able to tell that that ostrich was a female based off the color of her feathers. Her feathers are a much lighter gray, whereas the male ostrich's feathers would be much darker. Now, out to the left side there, if you kind of look towards that left corner, you may be able to see 3 cheetahs out there. Now, the cheetahs are the fastest land mammals, and they can go from 0 to 60 in just 3 seconds. Now, they can also run up to speeds of about 75 miles per hour. And even though they can run up to speeds of about that much, they can only sustain that speed for a few hundred yards. After a few hundred yards, they will get tired. Though they haven't caught their prey yet, sometimes they will give up. The cheetahs are typically solitary. However, sometimes when they're born with other cheetahs, they will stay together. Now, just ahead of us here, you may be able to see some Kobe rocks. Some larger predators, like the lions, may like to use Kobe rocks. Living in the grasslands, walking around on the ground, it is very hard to find your prey. But once you get up high in the Kobe rocks, it becomes much easier. Now, the lions do have 9 different vocalizations, ranging from a chuff all the way up to the roar. And the roar has been able to be heard from up to about 5 miles away. Now, out to the left here, it looks like we may be able to see a male and female lion out here. Now, the female lions are the hunters, and they will typically hunt in a group of females, while the males will stay behind to protect their territory as well as their young, if they have any. But for the majority of the day, the females will be the ones to raise their young. Now, the females will also typically hunt at nighttime. During the daytime, the lion's vision is very similar to ours, but at nighttime, their vision is 6 times stronger than ours. So it's definitely much easier for them to go hunting at night. The lions will typically spend just up to about 20 hours a day just resting. They may not always be sleeping, and they will typically be laying down resting. Just to the left here, you may be able to see those warthogs that are kind of up to the left there. Now, the warthogs are the largest burrowing animals, and they will typically back into their burrows, keeping their tusks in front of them, just in case a predator comes along. Now, they do typically range in weight from about 150 pounds to 300 pounds, with the males usually being larger than the females. So based off the size of those warthogs out there, we may have been able to tell that those ones were females. Now, the word Pumba does mean foolish, but the warthogs are actually very intelligent. They've been known to steal burrows from other burrowing animals and kind of adapt it to make it their own size. Now, just over to the right side of the truck there, if you kind of look right in the middle, you may be able to see some of those ostrich eggs. Now, because the ostriches are the largest birds in the world, they also do have the largest bird eggs in the world. And their eggshells have been known to be so strong that a human could stand right on top of the egg without breaking it. One ostrich egg is about the equivalent of 2 dozen chicken eggs. Now, we are headed into Magadi Glen, home of the Warthogs Post and the Nigerian dwarf goat. Nigerian dwarf goats are small, cute, social, playful animals. Even though these goats are so small, they're actually fully grown adults. Farmers may like to keep goats like the Nigerian dwarf goats because it'll help to give them a very sweet milk, which the farmers can then turn into soap, cheese, and many other products. Now, if you'd like to find some more goats today, you can head over to Urfiki's Planet Watch. Over at Urfiki's Planet Watch, they have the affection section, and there you may be able to find some more goats as well as some sheep and other animals, and you may even be able to pet them. Also at Urfiki's Planet Watch, they have the conservation station, so if you like the elephants and the bees project story, they actually do an example of the bee box fence out there, as well as some of our other conservation stories, and ways we've been able to help animals all around the world, like rhinos, elephants, and sea turtles. Now, also inside of the building there, you may be able to find some reptiles, and occasionally some of our vets are doing procedures. And if they are doing a procedure today, you may be able to watch it through the viewing window. Now, if they're not doing a procedure today, you may still be able to see that viewing window and where they would do their procedures. Now, they also have the animation experience out there as well, and there you may be able to learn how to draw one of our animated friends by our Disney artists. Now, it is completely random though, so you never know which character you're going to get. train ride over. The first train today will be leaving at about 9:30, and the last train will leave at about 4:30. So if you do want to go, just make sure you head out there anytime in between 9:30 and 4:30 today. Now, even though our journey together through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve is coming to an end, that does not mean that that's going to be the end of your animal sightings for the day. Located all around the park here at Disney's Animal Kingdom, you may be able to find many more animals. When you exit the safari, if you make a right, you can head right on over to the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail, and there you may be able to find many more animals, like the gorillas, as well as okapi, naked mole rat, meerkat. There's a really cool underwater viewing area for the hippo and several other animals. Now, if you'd like to find a tiger today, you can also head over to the Maharaja Jungle Trek over in Asia, and there you may be able to find a tiger, as well as some bats and other cool animals out there as well. Both trails are going to be about a 15 to 20 minute self-guided walking trail. And even though they are self-guided, there are plenty of cast members out there who'd be very eager to answer any questions you may have. So if you do have any questions, be sure to ask them while you're out there. If I have any wilderness explorers on board, you are on the Simba 1. And my friends here in Harambe wouldn't like to say goodbye because we feel that's far too sad and final. So instead we like to say Kwaheri. And Kwaheri means to go well. If you're sitting on the right side, please watch your hands, arms, feet, and legs. Doors are sliding open.